are passing. Now I'm going to start working on deployment part. If you get Hostinger's shared hosting, whether this is a business plan or premium plan, then you're going to have access to the following dashboard. Right here you have your to-dos, your websites, your VPSs, and everything what you have purchased or you have gained on Hostinger. So what I'm going to do right now is to either continue creating or migrating a website or start creating or migrating website. I have two business web hosting plans right now. And I also have free domain, which I can claim. So if you get, again, business plan hosting, you also going to have this free domain. Let's start with the domain claim. And I'm going to give this IO extension, and let's search for like Laravel API course.io. Check availability. This is available. We can check com domain as well. Let's try if this is available. Laravel API course. API course. Check availability. This is also available. And one last time, Laravel API.com. Of course, this will not be available. Laravel API.io is available. Okay, let's get this Laravel API.io. Pretty cool domain. Okay, since I already claimed the domain, now I can set up my business plan hosting and I can use this domain. So I can click on this create or migrate, which is going to do the exact same thing of what this continue does. Basically, once I click this create or migrate, it started the process and then it changed these two buttons. So I'm going to click on continue. And then let's go back. And then we have this create website or bring your website to Hostinger. So we're going to create a new website. So then click on next. Then we have a couple of options. We're going to choose WordPress version or Hostinger website builder. And we also have this empty PHP HTML site, which is what I'm going to do. And then we have to assign the domain. My domain is laravel-api.io. So this is what I'm going to choose. And then we're going to click next. Because we are registering a new domain, we have to enter domain-specific and required information. The contact information basically is pretty much what domain registration requires. I'm going to click Finish Registration right here for the domain details. Then we're going to choose the location. I'm going to leave this to the default one and we're going to click Next. Now, this is going to take a few minutes to initialize it and have our hosting ready. Meanwhile, let's go into our repository, which is on purpose a private repository. I did this on purpose, which I will switch into public repository after I finish recording this video, but I want to first give you full details on the private repository, how you can do this on private repo. Setup has been completed. If we have a look at the following domain and click on this, so this is the default Hostinger's page when you add a new website to the hosting. However, this might be still pending. It sometimes requires a couple of minutes. So if in your case this doesn't open and show DNS records, don't get scared, don't panic. Go just inside the menu, go inside SSL, and you're going to see SSL status. Probably the SSL will be in installing phase still, and that's why you don't see it working. In my case, it's active. That's why when I click on this, the application opens. Now, let's deploy our project on the following domain. So this is my project as I talked, and I'm going to go into settings of this project and click on secrets and variables and actions and just show you that we don't have any secret variables. Then go inside deploy keys. Again, we don't have anything inside the deploy keys. Okay, all that will be added through API from our script. This is the project. This is my open source project, which you can use to deploy your Laravel projects into Hostinger's shared hosting. I'm going to copy the following command. Then I'm going to open my project and I'm going to paste the following and hit the enter. So I'm installing my project. Version 0.3.0 is right now the latest version. Of course, I'm going to develop this, and when you install this, the version might be slightly different. But the main thing is that when we add this in our project, now we need to configure .en file and provide there a couple of parameters. Let's open en file and scroll at the very bottom, and I'm going to add my parameters here. Then I'm going to go into my Hostinger account. We're going to click on SSH and click on that. The SSH status by default will be inactive. We have to enable this. So I'm going to click on this. Then we need to authenticate. We can authenticate. We don't need to, but we can authenticate with the following SSH details. And there are two types of authentication in SSH, using password and using public-private keys. I really encourage you to authenticate using public-private keys. And I also have the small documentation section about this, about the SSH authentication setup. You're going to execute the following command on your machine to generate public-private keys, and then you can copy your public key to the server with the following command. Just make sure to provide port as well in case of Hostinger, because Hostinger has a different port. It is not the default SSH port. Okay, just to provide the port, you're going to use the following way: -p space and the port name in the following command if you want so. Now, I already have public-private keys generated on my machine. Okay, if you don't have, please generate it. You can use PuTTY as well to generate this on Windows as an example. I'm going to click this Add Public Key. Then I'm going to copy my public key from my machine. Typically, public-private keys are located under your home directory.ssh folder. And here I'm going to open id_rsa.pub file. So this pub means a public key. So I'm going to get this, paste, work, laptop. I'm going to add the record. After this, I am already able to authenticate to the server with the following SSH command, and it is not going to ask me password. But the script, what I have just installed, this requires those env variables, so we have to configure them. That's one thing. Second, this also requires SSH exec command to be installed. I'm going to search for this exec inside requirements, not the SSH, but the PHP exec function to be available. So we're going to do these two things. First, let's copy IP, go in our env, and well, let me actually copy these templates, env keys. I'm going to copy them, paste here. We need IP. I'm going to provide the IP. We need port. We need username. And we need the website directory, which is going to be our website name. We called this Laravel API.io. This is the folder name. As for the GitHub token, we're going to generate this. Go into your profile, settings, then click on developer settings at the very bottom, click on personal access tokens, fine-grained tokens, and click new, generate new token. We're going to give it a name, Hostinger token. Then we're going to give it description optionally, choose the owner, set the expiration date, and I'm going to select only a specific repository. So I'm generating this only for this one. And that repository is going to be Laravel API course 2025. This is my repo. Okay, and I'm going to give two permissions. One is going to be administration, and second is going to be secrets. Okay, just make sure you give read and write permissions in both cases, because this permission will be necessary to add deploy key to our repository, and this permission will be necessary to create actions secret variables. Now I'm going to generate, I'm going to copy this and paste here. And one last thing before I execute the deploy command is to enable SSH, not SSH, but exec function from PHP. So I'm going to click on this PHP configuration. Optionally, you can switch to different PHP version. That's also fine. But I'm going to go into PHP options. And right here, we have this disable functions, and I'm going to remove exec from here because I need that exec, or more specifically, the package, what this open source package needs that exec function to exec something on our server. That's logical. All right. After this, we can already execute the command. PHP artisan Hostinger. We have a couple of commands. Here we have Hostinger deploy, which simply deploys our application into Hostinger shared hosting. We have publish workflow, which publishes the GitHub Actions workflow into our repository. We have setup CI/CD, which sets up automatic deployment. It publishes the workflow as well and creates secret variables through this using this GitHub API token. And our deploy, by the way, creates a deploy key, adds deploy key in our project. So again, I'm going to go into my repository, I'm going to go into settings, and I'm going to click on deploy keys, and nothing is there. Now let's execute the following command, Hostinger deploy and set up CI/CD, which should do everything what we need. PHP artisan Hostinger deploy and set up CI/CD. Okay, now let's have a look. GitHub API connection has been successful. Okay, so the connection on API didn't work. Not the API, but SSH connection didn't work. That's strange. We added public key, as I remember. So let's go into SSH section, click on SSH access. Let's see. It is enabled. This is our IP. Okay, I'm going to copy this, and we have this public key edit. Okay, that's strange. So I'm going to copy this, open terminal, paste, and hit the enter. Okay, so let me accept this once. Yeah, I'm authenticated. Now, let's re-execute that. Strange, it asks me for the password. Okay, the reason is that I don't know why, how, but I don't have the proper username right here. So maybe I didn't paste this. So I'm going to copy these and paste here. And I think that's it. So now let's execute this again, and we're going to wait. SSH connection successful, generating SSH keys on server. So it is going to generate these keys, and it's going to take this public key and put in our project. Now let's go into our project, refresh that. And now it added this deploy key right here. Now it detected that there is not a Laravel project in the following folder, and this is the Hostinger's default page basically. So we're going to replace this with Laravel project. Optionally, we can cancel the deployment if we don't want. Now it is going to replace everything. It is going to clone from the following repository. Yep. And by the way, the deployment completed successfully. It has been already completed. And now what it is doing is creating secret variables. It also published this GitHub Actions workflow file, and everything is done. Done. So we can open this. And this is our API. We can access into /docs API, and this is our API documentation. And it is as simple as that. And it also created these actions. So right here we see all those actions, and it published in our project repository. It created this GitHub Actions workflow file. And we're going to commit this and push in our repository. And whenever something is changed, the deployment will happen automatically. If you notice, when we access Laravel API.io, we see this env2 corresponds to local. Actually, let's test this. I'm going to open web.php env2. I'm going to remove this 2. I'm going to save this. And now I have a couple of changes, and I am going to basically commit all of them. I'm going to auto-generate the commit message. I'm going to click on commit. I'm going to sync all the changes. Let's go into our repository, click on actions. It is still pushing. Let's refresh that and look at this. So the actions workflow action has triggered, and we have 3 jobs. I'm going to pause the recording and come back when this is done. And the deployment has been completed, and if we refresh, now we see env corresponds to local. And just like this, we deployed our project, and we also have automatic deployment. If you're interested to make some changes in your project, you can always access to the project using this SSH terminal. Let's open new terminal, paste, hit the enter. Now we're going to navigate into domains folder, Laravel API, and this is our Laravel project. And we can type ls-la and we see all the Laravel files right here. We can execute all artisan commands we want from here. We can open .env file, and we can optionally change the database connection from SQLite into MySQL. And by the way, Hostinger comes with MySQL support as well, so we can click on MySQL, click on remote MySQL, and we can create new database. We can take those database credentials and put them right here. The host will be local, this one, 127.0.0.1, or localhost, the port will be the default one, and you can adjust the database username and password and re-execute the migrations. Okay, because we are building a production ready API, you have to adjust the application name. We are gonna change this env into prod. We're gonna disable debug into false, and we are going to change this domain as well, https laravelapi.com. Now I'm gonna quit from here, and just like this, we have deployed our production ready API with several steps. When you switch your application environment into production mode and then try to access your application documentation section, you're going to get this 403 forbidden. That's by default. The Dedoc Scramble package we are using does not allow to view documentations if you are not in a local mode. For this, we're going to publish the configuration file by executing PHP Artisan vendor publish --tag equals scramble config. We're going to hit the enter. The following config file will be published. We're going to open the following configuration file and find at the bottom this middleware section, which has web and restricted docs access middleware. So I'm going to click on this and look at this. So if the environment is local, then okay. If the gate allows view API docs, then it is also okay. So what we need to do is either add this view API docs gate, or like my opinion is that we're going to simply remove this because we're making the documentation public for everyone, and it should be as simple as that. Now I'm going to commit and publish this, and the workflow will be triggered, and the actions will start running, and the deployment will happen automatically. Let's go into, let's wait until this is pushed. Okay, it got pushed. Now let's click on actions again. And this is in progress. Let's wait. Deployment has been completed. Let's go into our browser, refresh this, and it started working.